Human beings are good at figuring things out. In fact, it's kind of the only thing we're any good at. In this series, we're taking a look at how, and when, humans actually figured out how to do things we take for granted today. And we're starting with the most important invention of all, fire. Just kidding, we're starting with booze. What genius discovered alcohol? And how long have humans been consuming it? The answer is pretty hilarious, but first, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to History Snob for more videos about the weird and wonderful past. Now, to produce alcohol, you need to master fermentation. Essentially, yeast gobbles up sugar and leaves behind ethanol. That's the kind of alcohol we drink, and carbon dioxide. Humans can use this process to create all kinds of delicious and intoxicating beverages. Fermented fruits give us wines and ciders, fermented grains make beer, potatoes and rice can yield spirits. If you want to make gin, all you need are some juniper berries, a bathtub, and a dream. Basically, if there's sugar and yeast involved, humans can find a way to get tipsy. But when did it start? One major clue is that there's evidence of alcoholic beverages being produced in many different ancient civilizations that had no contact with each other. For example, in China, people were producing booze as early as 9,000 years ago. In the remains of a Stone Age village, archaeologists found pottery with rice wine residue inside. That's around the time when we have the earliest evidence of grape wine production in Georgia, the country, not the state. In modern-day Iran, historians have unearthed 9-gallon wine jugs in the ruins of a building that's at least 7,000 years old. Someone must have had quite the party. The ancient Egyptians loved beer and produced no fewer than 17 different varieties. There's evidence they were brewing large quantities as early as 3400 BC. At that time, in the city of Hierakonpolis, there was a brewery capable of producing over 1,000 liters of beer per day. And that's a good thing because records indicate that pyramid builders received a ration of just over a gallon every day they worked. In fact, in ancient Egypt, brewing beer was a legitimate excuse for taking a day off. Meanwhile, in the Americas, before the arrival of Columbus, drinking was already very much a thing. Pulque, a type of agave wine, has been produced by people in central Mexico for thousands of years. The Maya brewed a drink called pulque, using tree bark and honey. However, their method of consumption may not appeal to you. They apparently took pulque enemas in order to get the most buzz for their buck. But the oldest known brewery in the world was found in a cave near Haifa in modern-day Israel. Inside, researchers found beer residue that's at least 13,000 years old. So, what does all this tell us? Well, effectively, alcohol consumption is as old as civilization itself. In fact, some have theorized that humans began practicing agriculture in order to have more regular access to the fruits and grains needed to ferment ethanol. In other words, it's possible that the reason civilization itself exists is because we like to drink. But in fact, the true origins of human alcohol consumption may actually predate not only civilization, but our entire species. A 2014 genetic study found that our primate ancestors evolved a greatly improved ability to metabolize ethanol quite suddenly around 10 million years ago. That was about the time our ancestors stopped spending so much time in trees and started spending more time on the ground. In other words, our ancestors probably started eating more rotting and fermented fruit off the ground, so they evolved the ability to process alcohol. If this is true, our early hominid ancestors, long extinct, were the ones who figured out alcohol. Humans were merely the ones who perfected it. So, which of these ancient drinks would you most like to try? Egyptian beer? Mayan enemas? Let us know in the comments below. And subscribe to History Snob for more cool historical content. Thanks for watching.